Okay, I want to do a quick review on composing functions because I think a lot of people had problems with this when we went over it in class. So to start with, let's do the kind that we did back in Algebra 1. So in Algebra 1, we might have been given something like this. F of x equals 3x plus 7. And then we might have had a question that said, find f of 2. So if you remember from Algebra 1, we saw the x in the parentheses and the 2 in the parentheses, which helped us remember that that is our input, that's our x. So we're saying here x is 2. That means we're going to go back through and everywhere there is an x, we are going to replace it with 2. I think it helps to start by rewriting your function and leave parentheses where the x was. We are taking out the x and replacing it with 2. So I can see the 2's in parentheses here, and I have empty parentheses here. That's where the 2 is going to go. And remember, we always substitute with parentheses. So now if I do this math, I get that f of 2 equals 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 7, and that equals 13. So f of 2 for this function is 13. So now in Algebra 2, we are adding another function to this. So maybe we have g of x equals 3x minus 4. Maybe we have h of x equals x plus 1. So now we might be given something like find g of h of x. So we're going to color code a little bit here. We're going to say, okay, let's make g of x yellow, and let's make h of x orange. We're going to work our way from the inside out. So up here, we only had one thing in here. We had a 2, and we replaced it. Well, now we have h of x inside the parentheses. And if we look up here, we can see that h of x is x plus 1. They're equal. That means I can substitute. I can put x plus 1 in place of h of x. So I can take out, again, I'm going to leave some empty parentheses. I can take out h of x, replace it with the equivalent expression of x plus 1. But we're not quite done yet, because we still have to find out what g of x plus 1 is. So now I'm back, I have g and I have g. So I need to be looking at this yellow one. So I have g of x plus 1. Okay, so looking at the yellow function, g of x, same idea, I'm replacing x. So I'm going to rewrite it, I'm just going to leave a space. I'm going to take out the x. So now, again, just like in my easier Algebra 1, this is replacing the x. This is the input. Remember, x is always input. This is going in the parentheses. It's input. It's going in the parentheses. So now, what I have is some distributing to do here. I need to simplify. All right, I have 3 times x, 3 times 1, and then I have this minus 4. If I look at my like terms, I don't have any other x's. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So this is saying g of h of x is 3x minus 1. So let's talk about that one more time. I have two functions, g of x and h of x. If I'm looking for g of h of x, we are saying this is my input, and I'm going to replace x with this. So I am, first of all, replacing h of x with what it equals. It equals x plus 1. So I take out the h of x and I put in x plus 1. Then my second step here is to find out what g of x plus 1 is. I look at my g function, because now I'm going to replace x in the g function with x plus 1. So I rewrite it. I have the 3. I left a blank spot here, and I have minus 4. And this right here, x plus 1, was what I put in those parentheses. I took out the x that was there and replaced it with x plus 1. And then I just did some algebra. I distributed, and I combined like terms, and I got 3x minus 1.